Happy Inktober. Anybody that's still going strong, I'm still going to be encouraging you. Anybody that has quit at this point, hey, you tried it. Oh well. A lot of the times I do want to quit doing Inktober, and it's not because I don't like it. It's just that it's kind of hard to do something every day and to follow a prompt every day. But I still do it because I just have issues where if I start something like this, I'm like, I have to finish it, and I have to finish it doing all of the days individually like the rules entail. But it's not like that really matters. So anybody who has quit at this point, good for you for trying. You tried your best. Who cares? It's supposed to be fun. And if it's not fun anymore, then don't do it. So now we are on day 6, but I'm going to go back and actually discuss the previous days that I did. So for day 2, the word was mindless. And so I thought it'd be cool to get my little pumpkin girl, like have her holding her head in her hand. I realized that for people that have never seen the pumpkin girl, they might just think it's a headless girl holding a jack-o'-lantern in her hand. But for people that are following me on Insta and on here as well, then they would know that this is the character and that she's holding her head, and that's what makes her mindless. So that's what I thought would be a good idea for this one. It was around this point that I started to think that maybe I wanted to like give her a friend, and I was like, I should probably add somebody else in there so that way I'm not doing just one character for all of Inktober, and that sometimes I could have both of them. Sometimes I might put just a friend, and then that would give me a little bit more variety for when it's time to like when I'm trying to like think of ideas and I'm running out, and having another person would give me like more of a variety of what I wanted to do with it. But this was another one where I was like, dang, I need a background or something because I can't just have her standing there holding a pumpkin with nothing else. So I did this like weird squares background, and anytime I do floating squares like that, it always reminds me of the Rusty Lake games. If you don't play those games, you should try them. Type in Rusty Lake on the App Store and play all of them because they're all really good. So it always reminds me of those games. So moving on to day 3, I had a lot more of a background in this one. So this one was called Bait, and this one I actually used a plus size reference model for this. So that's why her body shape looks a little bit more like what I wanted it to look like. Like this was more of the body shape I was going for, but I just couldn't do it. I don't know what my problem was. But for this one, I was actually like looking at like referencing this pose with the body shape that I wanted. So that's why it was a little bit easier. But it was around day 3 that I actually started to think that I wanted to change the shape of her head. Now I use references heavily. I'm always using a reference for everything because I'm not very good at just like going off the top of my head. I mean, like the ideas I have are off the top of my head, but then I need references to help me put it together in the proper way. Now, with her head, I did not reference anything. Obviously, I'm like, I know what a pumpkin looks like. I don't need to reference a pumpkin. But it was around the time that I drew this one that I was like, maybe I should reference a pumpkin because, I don't know, I mean, it looks like a pumpkin, but it just wasn't looking the way I wanted it to. I wanted it to look like more like a pumpkin. So it wasn't the next one. I think maybe it is the next one that I used reference, but this is when I started to think I wanted to like change her head shape a little bit because it was a little bit oblong and I wanted it to be a little bit more upright. Also, I was thinking if I wanted to ever put a hat on her, it was going to be very hard to put a hat on a head that was so wide. Like she's a little bit like, hey Arnold, like her head is so wide. It would be kind of hard to add any type of head accessory because it wouldn't look correct. So I decided I was going to change her head shape. But day 3 word was bait, and I decided that she went down to the docks, and instead of fishing, she found a pet fish and she's going to take it home with her, and that's why she bought herself a little bowl because she was going down to the docks to fish for a pet. So now, I didn't change it the next day. So day 4 was freeze, and I cheated with this one a little bit because I didn't draw the whole body and I just do the upper body. But honestly, I couldn't think of anything else for freeze except for someone sitting at a like ice cream parlor and just eating a bunch of ice cream. So that's the idea I went with here. She's sitting down, she's eating a bunch of ice cream, and she's cold. For this one, once I was done, it looked a little cluttered, so that was a problem that I had, and it did look like you couldn't really tell the difference between some of the ice creams, so I ended up adding orange into the ice cream, which I don't usually do. I usually just add orange to her head and I don't put it anywhere else, but for this one I didn't really think I had a choice because you couldn't tell the difference between the ice cream and her clothing and like which ice cream was which, so it looked a little cluttered, so I decided to just put a little separation with the colors. Now the next day is actually the day where I decided I was going to go ahead and change her head shape. I figured if I'm gonna do it, I need to do it earlier in the month so that way she's not just suddenly changed out of nowhere. So for day 5 the word was build, and this was also the day that I decided to introduce her little goatee friend. So like I said, I was thinking about adding another character in, and I finally did, and this was the one I went with. She has a little goat friend with her, and I changed her head shape, and for this I just looked at like a drawing of a pumpkin and I was like, okay, yeah, that's what a pumpkin should look like, and it looks less oblong and it's more the shape that I was meaning to go for, but not the shape I went for in my own drawing. So this was the look I was going for. So I'm happy with how she looks now. I'm happy with her head shape. I'm happy with her body shape in this one. So I'm going to try to stick to like what this look is. I'm going to try to stick to this body size and shape and that head shape. And then her little goatee friend is obviously always just going to be her little goatee friend. I might at some point use a prompt with just the goat friend and not put pumpkin in it at all. But yeah, for now, that's her little friend. Now we're on to today's word, which was husky. Now the reason why I say I copped out on this one is because obviously there's no husky anywhere in the picture. I figured most people were going to draw a husky dog, and that was actually my idea as well. I was going to have her sitting there in the same exact pose she's sitting in right now, and I was just going to have a little husky puppy on top of her head, and I tried to do it and it looked really stupid. It looked out of proportion. It didn't look right, and I couldn't get it to look like the dog was like sitting on her head. It didn't look right, and I didn't care that I was gonna be like really unoriginal using husky, because my goal for this Inktober is not to be like super original. Like usually my goal is to try to be as original as possible and to try to think of an idea that no one else is gonna post for that same word. But for this one, I'm not challenging myself to be original. I'm challenging myself to draw full bodies. So I didn't really care about being original. I was just gonna draw a husky dog and call it a day, but even that didn't work out. So, you know, I took the husky out and I was like, I'm just gonna draw her in a sitting here with her hands up, and that's it. Oh well, you get what you get. Basically is what I was thinking I was gonna do. And I don't think it's so bad to like skip the word but still do the day. Like I still produced a piece of artwork today that has the same character. I'm still doing the same challenge. I still drew a full body. I just didn't use the exact word. Now I could have went to another list because there's so many lists for Inktober, but I didn't have any in mind, and it wasn't my plan to like switch between lists. So on any other days that I don't feel like doing the word or that nothing comes to mind for the word, because I have started planning ahead some more, and there are a couple of days where I'm like, I just draw a blank. Usually I look at a word and I immediately form an idea of what I want to do, but sometimes I'll look at a word and I'm like, drawn. I have no ideas whatsoever. So on the days like that, I'm just gonna draw whatever I want. I'm just gonna draw her or her goatee friend or both of them together, doing whatever I please, because it's hard enough, the challenges I already gave myself, especially drawing every day. So I'm not gonna like stress myself out too much to try to make sure I get the words done every day. So if I don't do the word that day, it was intentional, and you don't have to try to like find the meaning in what it is, because I probably didn't follow the word at all. So for this day, I am not going to do husky. Now this one, I also copped that a second time because the reference I used does have feet showing, but it is so hard to draw feet that tiny. Like I did the freaking hands, okay? Like I tried my best with those hands. They're so small, they're so hard to draw. So when it came to the feet, I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this. So I ended up giving, at first it looks like she's, I don't know, her feet look crazy. And then I ended up just giving her like little socks on her feet, because I felt like that was at least better than leaving them the way that they were. So that was the look I went for in the end. And then she looked like, when I sketched it out, she looked a little plain. So I just gave her these little triangles around her little rays of light. She's doing yoga. In my mind, she's doing yoga and she's meditating and she's reaching her next level. And that's why these rays of light are beaming off of her, because she's just in her zone doing her thing. So that's my idea for this. At least that's what I'm thinking. I was supposed to use this weekend to catch up on doing more sketches for Inktober. I think I did 2 more days and that's it. I'm going to try to use the rest of today to at least get the week done, because I do not want to come home from work after working 8 hours and come home and try to figure out what I'm going to draw for Inktober. That's going to be a hard task. So I'm going to try and get sketches done for the rest of the week. So that way at least it'll give myself a break. And then maybe I can do that every weekend, or if I can like squeeze an extra sketch or two during the week. But I'm going to try to get all my sketches done during the weekends, and then they'll be ready for me to ink on the weekdays, and then I won't be so stressed out. That's my plan. Anyways, this is what my little pumpkin girl looks like. I've just been calling her Pumpkin. She doesn't really have a name, and I've been calling her friend Goaty Girl. She doesn't really have a name either, so I don't know. Maybe her name is Pumpkin. I haven't decided yet, and maybe Goaty's name is Goaty. I haven't decided on that yet either. So if you have any ideas on those, hand them over. Yeah, but they don't have names yet, so I'm still open to name suggestions. Anyways, this is it. I am done with this one, and I'm gonna go sketch some more because I need to catch up. Okay, bye.